Good morning everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cooper of Cooper's Mobile Mechanics. I am, as it says in the name, I'm a full-time mobile mechanic, and on this channel I tend to show you a few jobs throughout the week, either some jobs that I find interesting or think you might find interesting, or sometimes I might just show you a full job from start to finish, or I might just show you the whole week, things that go alongside being a mobile mechanic, like all the admin side of it, things like that. So if you're new to the channel and you've never seen one of my videos before, if that sounds like something you're interested in, just make sure you hit that subscribe button for more content like it. What I have got this morning is this Fiat 500. It's one that I serviced a couple of weeks ago, and she was complaining of a knocking noise coming from the driver's side front. And I'll just show you what I found. It's all to do with the lower wishbone. So this is the passenger side, which isn't in too bad condition. You see it's just starting to split and separate here, but if I just compare it, so I'll show you the good side. You see there's a bit of a gap between the wishbone and the subframe. And you compare that to the driver's side, you can see here how the wishbone arm itself is completely separated from the bush, and the arm is touching on the subframe. So if I just get a screwdriver under here and sort of lift the wishbone up, hopefully you can hear the knocking that she's hearing while driving. So the arm is knocking against the subframe there. And so that's what I'm here to replace today. So I've got a pair of arms. I'm going to be replacing both sides, simply because, like I say, obviously on the driver's side, it's completely separated from the bush, hasn't it? On the passenger side, it is just starting to split. Now, the labour for these jobs, they're not just a simple case of removing 3 bolts and getting them out. There is quite a bit of labour just to replace the one. So while you're there, because you've got everything stripped out, you might as well replace both sides, because obviously if this one's gone, it won't be long until the passenger side's gone, so it's just going to cost double to do it all over again. What I mean by the labour for the job, we've got one bolt here going up, you've got the ball joint down here to get off, and then there's one bolt here which goes that way. Now to get to that bolt, you need to take this part of the chassis off here, and to get that part off, you need to take the front bumper off. So we're going to be getting the front bumper off, getting these arms off here so that we can replace the wishbones, which is why it makes sense to replace the two together, to save having to do all of this again in sort of 6 months time or a year's time. To start with, I just want to take off the inner wheel arch liner. So you've got a screw there. There should be a screw there, but there's not for some reason. And then you've just got a T30 just up there, and that basically holds the bumper onto the wing. Now we've got some more T30s just under the bottom of the bumper. Just got to take those out. Now we've got some on the top as well. I've already taken most of them out. I've just left one in loosely, just to sort of keep it in place. So when I get all the screws and that out from underneath, the bumper doesn't just fall out. So I can leave that in and then take this one out last and pull the bumper off. Once you've got those out, you can just pull the bumper. So you want to put it this way, which will then release it from the wing. Do the same on the other side, and then you can pull it off. You just have to disconnect the plugs for the lights and things like that. Then once you've got the bumper off, you want to take this bottom crash bar off. So you've got 4 bolts here, little 10mm as well. These bolts go through to the chassis leg that we want to take off. So we want to get that off completely. And then you got some bolts going up here that hold it in. I want to take this bar off as well. This arm is going to slide out this way. So as well as taking this off, we also want to take these bolts out here, because we want to pull that whole support. We want to pull it over enough so that you can slide this leg out. So now I've got those legs out the way. So you've got that bolt there to take out. That's the one that was hidden. So I'll take that out. Take out this bolt here, and then take out this nut and bolt for the ball joint. The good thing is because I'm replacing this, I can get a bit aggressive knocking the ball joint because they can get quite stuck in. If you're taking this out just to do another job, for instance, and you're not replacing the lower arm, you do need to be careful of the boot on that ball joint. Obviously, because I'm replacing it, it comes with a new ball joint anyway. I can get some forks in there, get a bit aggressive with it and get it out. Unfortunately, something happened with the audio when I filmed the last remaining clips. But essentially, once I got those 3 bolts out, the wishbone came out, and then it was just a case of putting the new one in and building it all back in reverse order, really. So I've done it all, road tested it, and the knocking noise is now gone. So I'm happy, customer's happy. And then I've just got a VW transporter for a battery to replace. And then I've got a short day today, to be fair, so it's just those 2, and then just sort out a few admin bits. That's not looking too good, is it? Anyway, quick last minute job this morning. One of my regular customers, he contacted me yesterday to say he's got a fuel leak. So I've just come over, had a look, and the fuel pipe, I don't know if you can see it really, it's all just starting to crack and split. And on one end, so when it was down here by the fuel filter, as soon as you run the engine, it's spraying fuel out. So it's just the pipe that goes from here, runs along to the filter. So I've just gone out, got some new pipe for it, so just quickly swap that over for him. The reason it's gone like that, I'm not entirely sure. It's just gone all really hard and brittle. It's cracked all along it. I know there is 2 choices for the pipe. There's one pipe, which is this one, for it's more of a sort of high pressure for the fuel injection, and there is one that says it's suitable for petrol engines. So whether they used the wrong type of pipe, I'm not sure. Anyway, got a new one here. Just quickly swap that over, and then it should be all sorted, and he can get on his way. Looking a bit better now. Got the engine running. We've got no leaks, so let's give a bit of a clean up. We'll top up that coolant while I'm here, and then head on to the next job, which is a Vauxhall Corsa for a coolant leak. Just to clarify, actually, the pipe that I took off, so I wasn't saying that it's got the wrong pipe on from factory. It looks like it's been replaced before. It wasn't a genuine pipe on there. So the customer thinks, he only bought the car about a year ago, and he thinks the guy who bought it off, he kept the car maybe at a farm or somewhere like that. So I suspect it's probably been replaced before due to like maybe rodent damage or something like that, or maybe it's just been chafing. But yeah, it wasn't a genuine original pipe that was on there. It was a sort of a non-genuine aftermarket pipe. So maybe they just had a bit of spare pipe lying around somewhere that they just used. Now I'm here with the Vauxhall Corsa. So she's got a coolant leak on it. She has had someone previously come over to have a look, who he said he thinks it might be the water pump, but he said he was going to go away, price it all up. Yeah, but then she said she's just never heard back from him. So I don't know if he's priced it up or what. But yeah, I think it's been a few weeks. She's tried ringing him, not heard anything, so then she got in touch with me. So I have come here with a water pump and a new belt, just in case it is that. I said I'll check it first, make sure it is the water pump before going ahead and replacing it, and then I'll let you know from there. So that's what I'm just going to do now, is just check it over, just double check it is the water pump first. You can see all around here, there's a lot of coolant all around this area. And just up there behind the engine mount is the water pump. It does look like it is leaking from there, to be fair. So I'll just get it all priced up for her and just let her know how much it's going to be, and just make sure she's happy for me to go ahead. They're not too bad to do on these, to be fair. Just got to get the air filter housing off and get the engine mount off. So you've got the top part of the engine mount, and then you've got the bit that bolts the engine, get that out of the way, and then you just need to get off the belt, get the belt off, get the water pump pulley off, so you've got 3 bolts on there, and then the water pump basically comes out to here. So I've just got to get this connector off for the water pipe, and then it should be a pretty straightforward swap over. So I've got the engine mount partially out, it's all loose here, but it's very tight pushing up against the chassis. So what I think I might do is I'm going to crack off these 3 bolts here on the water pump pulley, take the belt off, get the water pump pulley off, and hopefully that should give me a bit more room to bring it up this way. Now we can see what we're working with a bit better. So I want to take this pipe off here, take off, so the water pump stops there. So I just got this pipe going in here, there's 3 bolts holding that on, and then we've got a few bolts holding the water pump in. So when I'm going to take these off, then these are going to be different lengths. So I just want to take note of which hole they came out of as well. That's the water pump out. So I'm just going to clean up, get all that old gasket off, clean up all the coolant that's there, and then swap it over. They're always quite fiddly to do these. Like getting the engine mount out is really tight on these engines. You've got to kind of jack the engine all the way down as far as it will go to get the bottom bolt out, and then jack it all the way back up to get the top bolt out. And every one of these water pumps I've done as well, this pipe here is always really stuck on. So that's where the pipe was. You see all the gunk that's on it. That just kind of causes the pipe just to stick on. So I usually take out all the bolts for the water pump, and then you can kind of pull the water pump this way while getting that hose off. That seems to work quite well. It's Thursday morning and I'm still feeling absolutely rough. Some sort of sinus infection, chest infection, or whatever's going on. But we've got work to be done, haven't we? The first job this morning is a Skoda Superb. I've got a oil and filter service and a DSG oil and filter service. I'm just currently draining out the engine oil now. I'm just going to do the service checks, and then once I've done that, I'm going to show you my routine for doing the DSG oil and filter service. The service is all done. Now I'm just going to crack on and do the DSG oil and filter change. So first thing I've done, same as when I do an engine oil and filter change, I've cracked off that oil filter housing just to allow all the oil to sort of drain down to the bottom. And then under here we've got the drain plug, so I'm going to take that out. But then also under there's another plug inside, which is the oil level plug, so you also want to get that out. I'll show you that in a sec. So we've got a 14mm Allen socket. Just going to get that plug out. Let that all drain out, and then once that stops, like I said, there's another plug inside that we want to get out. So then for the level plug, it is a 8mm, I think. I'm about to find out. They're not tight at all, they're only sort of finger tight. So I'm going to stick that up in there, whip that out, and we should get a lot more oil come out. Like that. And then once that's all drained out, we're going to put this plug back in. Like I say, you don't do it tight at all. I had a look for the torque setting for it. Couldn't actually find a torque setting, but if there is one, it's probably going to be about 2 Newton meters, something like that. You'll literally wind it in and just do it up finger tight. So I'll just get it in there and literally just a little until it stops. And now that's in, we'll start filling it up. You leave this plug out because you actually fill the oil through the drain hole with a little tool, and I'll show you how to do that. The tool I'm using is basically a bit of pipe with a threaded bit that screws into the drain plug, and then up top you get your bottle of DSG oil, screw it onto here, and then I'll hold the bottle upside down and let it all drain in. The kit I'm using is a Febi kit, so it comes with 6 litres of the oil, new plug, a couple of new washers, And then we've got a new oil filter and seal in there as well. Really good kit. I've done loads of these, and yeah, this is probably the best kit I've found so far, other than genuine. The genuine ones are ridiculously expensive. These are a lot more affordable, but the quality is really good, to be fair. The best way I've found to fill these up is one by one. Screw it on the bottle, tip the bottle upside down, squeeze it all in until it's going into the box, and then I'll get a Stanley knife and I'll just put a little slice in the top of the bottle just to allow air to go in, and that will then sort of push the oil in, and then I'll just do the same one by one with each bottle. So now that I've got all the oil in there and I've replaced the filter, I've now got to check the oil level. So I've got the engine running and I'm just checking the transmission fluid temperature. And what I want is for that to be between 35 and 45 degrees. So as it's only at 31, what I want to do is just cycle through the gears basically, put it in reverse, leave it there for a few seconds, put it into drive, leave it there for a few seconds, and I'll just keep alternating that until I get to 35 degrees. And then once that's at the right temperature, I'll go underneath the vehicle with the engine still running and I'll take out the drain plug. And what I want is for the fluid to drain out a little bit and then stop, and just once it starts dripping, that's when you know that the level is bang on, and then you can put the new plug and seal in there. So still got the engine running. I'm going to take out this plug and see what happens. If nothing comes out, then we need to add a bit more fluid. You can see there it's draining out, and then that should eventually sort of stop draining and just drip. And once it starts dripping, we can put the plug back in. Now that's just a bit of a trickle and drip. We can get this plug in and get it all torqued up and put it all back together. Right, last job on Friday. Got a sump to replace on this Vauxhall Vivaro. You can see there it's leaking. It's all from around the plug. I think the guy does his own oil changes. He messaged me a couple of weeks ago, say that he's done his own service, but I think the threads have stripped. So luckily, it's a nice, easy sump to get off. Nice small one. Not really got to get anything out of the way. So yeah, I'll just crack on and start. I'll drain the oil first, and then take out all these bolts, clean up all the old sealant, and swap it over. Now with the sump off, I'm going to clean up all of this old sealant. Got a wire wheel on a brush. I'm just going to whiz around, get all of it off, get nice and clean. And I've got all that off. I'm going to put the sealant onto the new sump and get it on. And then I just need to wait. It says 30 minutes while it cures before filling up the oil and starting it. That's the sump all on. All torqued up, 12 newton meters. You can see just on the edge there, you just start to see the sealant just poking through. You don't need loads of sealant, just a fairly thin smear to be fair. So I'm just going to wait half an hour and then I'll fill that full of oil, run it and just make sure it's not leaking. Well, that's good. Brand new sump and it's leaking from the sump plug. Cheers. Well, I've gone out and got a new sump plug with a washer. Now if you look at this washer, it's a crushable copper washer. So as you tighten it, that copper washer is going to sort of squash down. And that washer that's on there does not look like a crushable washer to me. That just looks like a thick copper. But look at this. There's a brand new BGA sump with that type of washer, which clearly isn't working. BGA sump plug with a crushable washer. So how do BGA manage to provide the correct washer if you buy a sump plug, but if you get a complete sump which already has the plug in it and the washer, they give the complete different washer, which doesn't work. Same company. How does that make sense? Anyway, new sump plug in, new washer, no leaks. Job done. Anyway, that's me done for the week. Well, I say that's me done. I've got to go over to my last job that I just did and go and retrieve my torch because I realise I've left that stuck underneath the car. But I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. If you have, please like and comment. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. It's always appreciated. But thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.